Hey guys, here today to talk about the new Steelswarm deck. I know it's going to look like a deck profile and I probably will present it as such, but I will tell you the cards that I think I'm trying out, and I don't net deck. This could be far from the best way to make this, so please take it as maybe combo and core ideas. The extra deck I'll show you later. I don't want this to be a 12-minute video, but it probably will turn out that way, so just kind of be prepared. I really have no idea. The deck is essentially a Monarch deck without the Frog engine, or without, I don't know, whatever engine you prefer. So it runs some protection cards like Trag, Gorz, and so forth. I don't run Battle Faders. I don't really think I want to. But I do run Threatening Roars, so I'll show you that. Steelswarm Girastag, it is a 7-star, and even though it is a 7-star, in today's format you'd never play double sack cards unless they were just amazing, which is why I like this guy, because he is actually a 1 tribute. Kind of strange, but you have to tribute a Steelswarm. What he does is when he is summoned, and obviously his effect works and activates, your opponent sends, let's see, you target a card your opponent controls and you send it to the graveyard, and then you gain 1,000 life points, which is a very big deal because you have to pay 1,000 life points for a few other of the Steelswarm effects. Plus the sending gets around Stardust and other abilities of anti-destruction. You do run Dad, which is, I haven't played that in a deck for quite a while. Probably, I would say Blackwings. I don't know. That's probably the first time I played Dad in a while. It is very easy to manipulate your graveyard, so I would highly recommend playing a Dad. It's nice to get to play him again. He's like he's almost like BLS because this deck doesn't run BLS. He's kind of your ace in the hole. Gorz, like I said earlier. 2 Moth. I might go to 3. Moth is pretty much your pure Monarch. 6-star, 2400, just like Monarch. When he is summoned by tributing a Steelswarm, all the tributes have to tribute a Steelswarm for them to work. You pay 1,000 life points to target 2 cards your opponent controls, and you bounce them back to your hand. So it's like a double compulsory. It does target, so there can be some times where that's bad, but I'd say most of the time it's a good thing. And I will show you here our last tribute guy, which I may go to 3 Moth instead of this guy. His name is Mantis. He's a 5-star. When you tribute a Steelswarm, you pay 1,000 life points. So like I said, Girastag's a nice thing. And then you special summon a Steelswarm from the grave. So that's pretty amazing, actually. It helps you with your tuning, exceeding, or just setting up for next turn. Color, you need to play at, I would say, 2 to 3. I'm trying out 3. He's great. He's 1,700, and his ability is amazing. When you tribute him to bring out one of these guys, your levels 5, 6, 7s, what he does is he special summons a level 4 or lower Steelswarm from the deck, which is, as you know in this format, like Tour Guide or a Searcher that is broken. And he's 1,700, so he's good. This guy is half and half. I can see him being ridiculously good. I can also see him, and there's times where he is just useless. I mean, he's a Steelswarm. He's got 19 defense. That should be good enough. I just think there may be another way to play the deck without him, even though I'd like to try to find a way to play with him because of his ability. What you do is, if he's already on the field face up, and you tribute another Steelswarm, which would be probably most likely your Scout, which I'll explain in a minute. He's like a Reborn. What you do is when he is on the field and you tribute another one to bring out one of these guys, he allows for another normal or another set that turn, which is really amazing. So you could actually bring out 2 big guys if you had them in your hand and you had a good field presence, which is in this format very hard to keep. So that's why I'm not sure I like him a lot. Sangan, you got to run him. Morphing Jar is my idea for now. It may be a bad thing. It's obviously horrible against Dark Worlds. I probably just put in another Scout, something like that. Here, let me scoot these over. It's getting all jacked up. Oh well. I run 2 Scouts. I don't think you need 3. He's your Reborn. The only thing negative about him is if you use his ability to come out of the grave when there's no, you don't have any back row, so it's just like Reborn in that regard. but he has one more negative effect, and that's you can't special summon anything else that turn. So it's frustrating. So you couldn't actually pull off. You could pull off the Gatekeeper Scout combo, which is fine, which is really nice. You couldn't pull off Mantis, for instance. You couldn't sack from Mantis and special summon something from the grave. So risky. You do play 1 for 1, so there's a bulb and there's 3 cells. Cell is your Cyber Dragon, but actually better because it doesn't say your opponent has to have a monster. They could have no monsters and you could still special him from the grave. So there's your 3 level 1s there, and I say you really need to run 3. The great thing about the deck is I'm not running Pot of Avarice right now, but it does throw stuff in the grave pretty well. I may take out Jar or some other things for like a Greffer. Greffer seems to be a good idea because you do have high levels, so you can special summon the Greffer. You just, and maybe run an Avarice, so we'll see about that, see how that goes. Let me move this out of the way. You run your staples. I don't need to explain these. Because you are normal summoning and tribute summoning all the time and rarely specialing, I would say 2 Duality. I tried 3 and I took out 1 for Allure. So, like I said, you run 1 for 1 because you have 2 scouts, 3 cells, and a bulb. Bulb's pretty amazing at times. First Step is a ridiculously good card. The combos with it have been amazing. It protects when you tribute summon, you got to worry about those stupid bottomlesses and torrentials and whatever else. Or when you're attacking and your tribute monster, and these only work for the tributed guys, they're 5, 6, 7s. But here's the combo. You can attack into like a Deep Prison or Mirror Force. They play, their Deep Prison, Mirror Force, whatever. You chain this and it bounces your card back to your hand, so it's like a compulsory for you to allow you to summon again next turn. But the advantage of this is better than compulsory is because you get the draw. And it's a quick play. It's a great card. I had 3, I'm down to 2. This is one of the best cards in the deck, and it allows you to manipulate the grave for your Dark Arm. If you've noticed, your Steelswarms, your Girastag, your Moth, your Mantis, your Collars, this is the only guy that doesn't have 0 defense. All the rest of them have 0 defense. So every single Steelswarm in the deck, except for Gatekeeper, which is one more reason why I'm not sure I really have to have him, can be brought back with recurring. The only thing bad about recurring Nightmare is you have to have exactly 2 or more. You have to have at least 2. Let me put it that way. And then a Foolish Burial for the Scout because you're running essentially a Reborn. It doesn't seem to get a ton of stuff in the grave super fast, so the Greffer might be a good play, or maybe a Mystic Tomato Armageddonite combos. I've seen somebody on Duality Network that I played run, and I'm not sold on it. It doesn't have room for traps because, like I said before, you're running a Reborn type of thing. But these 2 traps are just too good not to run. It's worth not having the Reborn effect come out. And then I'm trying these out because they're chainable and because they protect you. You're running Gorz, you're running Trag. You really don't have anything else to protect you, and I think you need to try these. Then again, what I really want to try, and it would be a whole new build, would be take the Scouts out of the deck and maybe run some Ultimate Offerings to treat it like a gadget / Monarch. That way you can keep the normal summoning going. The only problem is, of course, keeping your hand. So that's kind of why I had the Jar. Okay, that's the main deck. As you can see, it runs 42 because you have Dualities, you have Infestations, which is that quick play that lets you draw when you bounce back, and of course you have Allure. So there's some cards in there that helps. Trish is not hard to make because they're Bulb. You run Girastag, which is your 7-star, and you run Bulb, so it's not hard to make 8s. I'm not real sold on this exact lineup. I may take out Dark End for Colossal, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Scrap Archfiend, because you run 2 Moth, it's not hard to make 7s either. So, Black Rose, Ancient Fairy, and then you run Mantis, so I doubt 6s will be very easy, but I put 2 good ones in there. I'm not real sure how that's going to go. So there's your major lineup. You run lots of 4s, as you saw, so these will be very easy to make. I don't really want to rely on any of this. It's kind of like hey, it worked out, let's bring it out. And then also Utopia, I'm running a Steelswarm deck, I'm going to put Roach in there. And then a Gorz token. I shouldn't even mention that. I do think this deck will get better for sure as Hidden Arsenal 6 comes out, because it has a 3-star effect monster that's actually pretty decent. There's also Needle that's coming out. He's a 4-star. He's pretty okay. Their big boss monster, their giant one, the 3200 or whatever. I think it's 32. Anyway, there's a big one I don't really like. But that's not what I want to talk about. The little guy, I can't remember his name. He's got like a laser shooting out of his eye. He's a 3-star. Because you run Sangan already and you can run that guy, Tour Guide may go into this deck eventually. So, I don't know, because you can't run too many monsters because you got to tribute Steelswarms to bring out your Steelswarm tribute monsters that have their great abilities. So, let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of mention the best cards for the deck and to show you guys kind of how some of these combos work. I can run through that really quick. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out. It is a Monarch deck. So if you know how Monarchs work, you know, go for it. Your Girastag, you need to play 3 because this is your main guy you're going to bringing out every turn pretty much, if you can. And that's why I like the first step. A great setup would be this guy. You want to try to tribute him. And then if you don't have a scout in the grave yet, you need to probably bring out your scout. You could bring out this guy like a defense. And you've got, let's say you tributed a Girastag or a Moth, right? And then next turn, you would actually probably, even though he's a beat stick, you could tribute him off. And essentially, you know, use let's say you tribute him off for a Moth or another Girastag, and then his ability activates, and even if you don't have another tribute in your hand, you could always just bring out another Caller, or you could bring out, you know, really anything. You just need some kind of field presence, and that's why I like the Threatening Roars. You need some kind of field presence to keep kind of your engine going. So think about that as you're building it and you're playing it. It's, you know, it's a great deck. It's a lot of fun. I don't think it's tier 1 just yet, but like I said, there's more stuff coming out. And when the Verse comes out in Order of Chaos, and after that as well, it's going to mix with this deck a little bit and become even more powerful. So pick those Steelswarm deck cards up from your friends. You know, I wouldn't recommend buying a box. It's not, you're going to kind of take a little bit of a hit on that. And you know, build this up. Build it as you want to go. It's not a very expensive deck. As you saw, I had a lot of high rarity stuff in here. You don't need all that. The supers are probably $1 to $3 each. Your Girastag is going to be your most expensive, I think. You know, you don't have to run Bulb, guys. And I wouldn't recommend running Kogastag or whatever. I think Kogastag, he's the 8-star. You have to tribute off 2 Steelswarms. He is amazing, though. If you can figure out how to run the deck and keep 2 to 3 Steelswarms on the field at all times, Kogastag is like, I think he's a Heavy Storm or like a Regeki or something like that. So check him out too. All right, guys, video's long enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Laters.